glad you're back.
Mm-hmm.
And you're feeling better.
I'm better. Mm-hmm.
Not as much soot in there, is it?
Try not to.
Bring this.
Manuka honey and cayenne pepper.
Oh. You didn't put a little lemon in there?
I didn't.
That would have been just boosting it right up.
Could have. Yes, I didn't try that one. Though. Maybe tonight I'll do that.
Actually, I saw something on, just off the subject. You know how my brain works. Sometimes it just goes. I saw an article, I think in one email I got about you should be eating the rinds of some of your fruit because they have a lot of nutrients and vitamins. One was pomegranate. I'm like, that's a little fuzzy. You know, that's fine, but that's a little fuzzy. That's be sort of like licking my cat.
I haven't tried to eat it. I haven't eaten pomegranate like that, so I'll have to.
No, I usually go to the inside of it, but I mean, there's a little fibery there, get a little roughage, I guess. and it will, it's supposed to be good.
So what they say on some of them.
Well, the zest from all your citrus, very good for you. You know, I don't know about banana peels.
Don't think I'd eat that one.
No, I don't think banana peels. Potato peels are supposed to be very good for you.
Okay.
And in fact, I believe that during World War II, some of our prisoners of war, what they fed them were the potato peels, which actually is very good for them. Okay, I mean the red potatoes. Anyway,
a rainy day again.
I know.
It's like every day, whatever day we pick, usually is something.
As long as it's not snowing or icing.
Nope, we have not had a winter.
No, we have not. All our fruit trees. The plum trees covered with flowers.
Would just be prepared.
I know.
It can still freeze.
I know. I'm trying to figure out ways of.
It can still freeze.
We need smudge pots. You know, the old-fashioned smudge pots.
Okay.
You ever see that? And they just give off smoke.
Okay.
Because the water will condense with the smoke and not on your plants and freeze. Anyway, speaking of water.
Oh yeah, big thing happened yesterday.
1 a.m. What day was it? Yeah,
it was
1 a.m. yesterday morning. 1 a.m. at the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore.
Yes, a major port.
Major port.
Yes.
Major 1 a.m. dark. Oh yes, and I didn't hear about that because I was too busy doing all other things, and I didn't hear about that until I got into Bible study. That it had gone down because that large shipping container, it's going into a major port, from what I understand, and it was huge. Okay, it was a container ship.
Yep.
So if you look at this, first of all, looking at a container ship, if you go to the beach, like Virginia Beach, and you see those ships, they're mega large. They're huge because all those, 18-wheelers you see go by, those are the trailers that are on the containers. Those containers are on the container ships.
90%, I think they said, of like some of our company in Pennsylvania, of the shipments come into that port.
Wow. Yeah, because that means closest to where they needed to go.
So just think how this affects everything. Everything that's already scheduled to come in there is having to reroute.
Oh man, there's so much.
There's so much that's going on with this.
Now, reroute, that's just, we're already having a problem with energy and costs.
And we've already had issues with ports and stuff anyway. That
so just think of whatever's on those. Oh my. Anyway, so 2 were rescued, 6 were missing, and I don't know how many. And these people were part of the crew they were on the bridge, and from what my understanding was, they were trying to stop people from driving onto the bridge. Heroes. Heroes. And that container ship, I'm doing this slowly because my mind is just trying to wrap around how devastating this thing is on all levels. It lost power
Twice.
twice. Sent out a mayday. Too late. Because my thing was there weren't any tugboats available. Because tugs are pretty good at moving these big things around, you know. And
But if
once it
it's night
started
and it's
drifting,
dark, and I
yes,
guess you
dark
can't
at
see, and
night,
you
they
can't turn it on a
can't
dime.
turn it. You couldn't turn.
And it's going in with all that force.
It's going in with that
But
force.
it still is interesting how it collapsed everything. It
It-
did just, I don't know.
Well, I think I have pictures. I had a picture of, it's a truss bridge.
Mhm.
Okay, now I know about truss bridges because my husband's very first job was working for American Bridge in Elmira, and he drew truss bridges. So they're the ones that you see, the steel, and they're like angles and trusses like you have in your ceiling and your roof.
Mhm.
And you have your piers or your pylons at the side, and you hit one, and it was like a domino effect because that the trusses go across. And if you saw the pictures, and I don't have the pictures because that picture replaced what was there, well, that is a picture of another bridge in Mississippi. So that does happen. And once you hit it, there was no support on one end, and it's gone. Because the trusses keep it from having a lot of pylons or columns holding it up.
To one.
One swipe. One swipe.
Just one little pylon could knock out the whole bridge.
Yeah, it did. And it was built in 1977. It's 2 miles long steel. 35,000 people used it every day. And this is taken from the Washington Post. It is the country's 14th largest, specializing in roll-on vehicle shipments.
It was really, really sad.
Sad. Yep. Now, this is the container ship that did it. So it's from Sri Lanka, bound.
Mhm.
So it was bound. Sri Lanka, it was going out. Sounds like. Wow. See, they had made it in it stopped running twice.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yep. And from what I've heard too is that these ships and everything are ran now to where they can be hacked and stuff too.
The computer, everything's computerized.
Except us.
Give it time. All in good time.
When we become those little
Hey, they can put little chips in here so it helps your hearing. So who knows, And Elon, you have the little chips that's supposed to help those of us who have major virus things, So just a matter of time. So so it collapsed. And I wanted to find out a little bit about the bridge history because you know how I am, and this was from fastconcompany.com. And it was built in 1977, 5 years, it took 5 years. It spans 1.6 miles.
And only one ship to take it down.
One ship takes it down. So something that took 5 years.
Isn't it odd after it's been here since 1977, this has never happened before? I'm just saying. Excuse me.
No, you're fine, because that was my question. My question was like, I wonder if this was, I want to start the P word.
It's just
planned.
I don't know. It's just so weird.
No.
It's just so.
It is so devastating because
devastating.
it has affected 35,000 drivers, not to mention all of the other shipments coming in and going out. Is that not a commercial venture that's being?
It's affecting a lot.
There's going to be major investigations.
Because you've got now the New York port is going to be full.
And Virginia, yes,
anyway.
they're all going to be full.
Okay.
So it cost at that time $110 million. but it provided for more lanes of traffic. It was a metal truss style bridge, has a suspended deck. So that means because of the way the design, it's all physics of the trusses, you only need to have support at the end of that long truss. So there's where the support. So what? It just happened to hit.
So the one that it took out is not really a support.
It is. That's it. Because the truss, it spans. See, it has a suspended deck. So like those trusses are like holding it up. You see that picture that they show the San Francisco Bridge? That's sort of like what you're talking about, because you can span a great deal and just have not so many supports. And that design helped it collapse because it's like, okay, one leg's gone, so you can't just stand up in thin air. It's got to come down. The ship appeared to hit a main concrete pier, which rests on soil underwater and is part of the foundation. There's a word in there that bothers me. Rests on soil. It's just resting on soil. Okay. Good girl. This type of bridge is not designed to redistribute loads in the event of a main pier collapsing. Therefore, videos show there is progressive, and it just one went down and just went.
Like a domino.
Yeah, just twisted and went down. Fails after another.
I feel bad for the captain
Oh my gosh.
and the crew and the steamship liners. This has such a big ripple effect.
Where's the backup power? You know, if you're in a hospital and the power goes out, they have backup power comes on. Generate, beep, it's on, because you can't see a surgeon and he's doing surgery and the lights go off. Everyone hold up their phones, right? Like, okay, can I see that suture? You know, but that's
I don't know.
built and put in soil. I have so much problem with bridges and their piers. I call them piers. Built and put on soil.
I don't know how you do that. But it did say.
It said soil.
Yeah, but it did say.
Rests on soil underneath.
It's a main concrete pier.
Which rests on soil underneath.
I guess the concrete pier was.
It
was so solid, maybe that. I don't know.
Well, at that, my husband, I said to him, John, couldn't they have done this? He goes, the tankers, these cargo ships are massive. It's not going to hold up under being hit by something like that.
This is amazing.
And one of them said that sometimes the load bearing causes bridges to collapse because they can't bear that load on top. All right. Sometimes, well, in this case, something hit it. 37 years ago, April 5th, and we mentioned this once before, the Schoharie Creek went underneath the New York Thruway, okay? The east-west lanes, 4-lane highway. The Schoharie Creek empties into the Mohawk. The Mohawk goes on into like Cohoes and goes over what's called the Cohoes Falls, where it meets the Hudson River, okay? And 37 years ago, in 1987, April 5th, there was so much rain that the Schoharie Creek was starting to overflow. I mean, it got pretty high. And where it went under the thruway, the opening from the Schoharie into the Mohawk, for where that bridge was built, was too narrow compared to the width of the the river coming in. So you have a river that's inundated with water at this time. So it's wide, it's loud, and it's moving fast. And the velocity of that, water may not look like it's going fast. You put a lot of water in a certain area, and the velocity, you go under the surface and into the middle, and the velocity at that point underneath in the middle is tremendous. And it's pulling everything along under there. That bridge, again, these piers were not embedded in the bedrock. It was, again, set down, and at that time, my understanding, because I was teaching near that area, and in Cohoes, the Mohawk goes into the Hudson, so we were concerned about that. And actually, some of the men who were carpooling at that time, one of the cars that went in, and some people in our area knew these people. They had been carpooling. So it's called scouring. So that rushing water is rushing around those piers. And as it's rushing around the piers, it's picking up all the soil and moving everything. Any boulders or anything else that they had there. And it got to the point where, okay, there's nothing holding around that pier. It's like putting a post in for your fencing and not putting soil around it. And the animals are going to get out. They're just going to knock it over. You have to compact soil. So there was nothing that had been driven into any kind of bedrock or down in rods or anything that held that way to keep it from moving. So that scouring took that bridge down. And this actually this is the whole article. I ran it off this morning from Wikipedia because I was really, concerned about it. And scour holes, it's just running around those piers and just taking all the soil, and the soil's gone. What's holding it up? All you need is one to go down.
I've never understood what really holds something underwater together anyway. Because it's usually not solid under there.
Well, if you can get bedrock, you can drive into it.
But how do you,
it depends.
Because, trying to go through water, getting down to a bedrock and everything, it's got to be a challenge.
They do. And I had a friend that was mentioning at a class I was teaching a few weeks ago that our friend built a home up here not too far away, and he had to dynamite because he had bedrock. Because he had to dynamite. And the ironic thing is, one student in the class said, "I think I was visiting my friend when that was happening, because is it this road?" I said, "Yeah, that's the road." I was like, "So now you know he had to dynamite." So, but they put it in your well. When you drill your well, you go through all that, what they call the regolith, that loose stuff, until you can get to some bedrock. And then they embed your well pipe into that bedrock so you don't get all that soil and crap in you don't end up with brown and gray, white laundry. You get nice water. So I don't, and I asked my husband.
But you're working from a flat surface at that point. You're not
pretty
working
much
with water around you. You're digging into, and water may be coming up, but you're going down into water when you're building a bridge.
And they do that. They have underwater things to do this, to do that. And my husband said, I don't know why they didn't have support rods that were embedded. My thing is, why can't we put a shield, a wall? So when the water comes, it has to go around the wall. It's like those cow catchers on the front of your vehicles, or deer catchers, you block it. Or make it bigger so that the water would not have to have such a problem going through, because you bottlenecked it. And it's like, you bottleneck the water.
When they probably looked historically at how many floods or what had happened, and so historically there was nothing that presented itself that we'd ever have a major.
And you led right up to the
Oh, I
next
did?
subject. It's really good because when you design these things, I took a class with my husband called Environmental Control Methods, and we designed like septic systems and water systems for different municipalities, like cities and stuff. And what you have to design for, you have to design for something that might occur once every 100 years. See, you led right into it.
Didn't even realize it,
You
right?
didn't even realize it. You did. So, did they design this to be, God forbid, if this happens once in 100 years? Are you prepared for it? And you can hear what they're saying, the politicians. We don't have money for that. It's never going to happen, right? But yet it does, doesn't it?
Or it can.
It can.
But you cannot prepare for every single
You can't.
catastrophe.
You can't.
You can only, hindsight is what teaches us.
FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Association, I believe that's what it is. FEMA, I believe, originated after the Hurricane Agnes in 1972. I believe it's 72. And Agnes hit through Virginia too. And at that time, the water, the hurricane came around and hit the southern tier of New York, and all the water from there, of course, flooded from the whole length of the Chemung all the way down into New Jersey, wherever that went out. Okay? The whole southern tier was destroyed. I mean, homes all along I think my Volkswagen was still probably floating down the Chemung River because I just traded in for my Capri. And it came early, so I'm sure that little orange Volkswagen just floated down the Chemung River and went out into the New Jersey. So it's probably offshore New Jersey someplace, rotting away. Orange is probably just rust now. Anyway, but if you think about something like that, it might happen only once. In some places, I'm sure they probably designed for once in 50 years, because once in 100 years is really massive design. So who knows how they design these bridges? You get a few earthquakes, you get things happening, and most buildings are built to sway a little bit now, just in case there's earthquakes. And do we have many of them? No, but I don't want to have any. Thank you.
No, and it is it's like I said, hindsight is so much easier than foresight.
Mm-hmm. And of course, there's the attitude that you get from people that say, "It ain't gonna happen here."
Never say never, right?
Never say never, because you never know what's going to happen. So, being good Girl Scouts, I like to be prepared, and I know you guys are too.
We try to be, but
I know. I mean, you can only do so much, but
I mean, we're not in a flood place, but
no, I made sure I'm up high.
I mean, Lunenburg's just not.
Last two houses were going to be up. And the funniest thing, they're both 500 feet above sea level. And as long as that polar cap doesn't melt, we're okay.
I mean, it's just, there's some, but you need thinking. It's just interesting, you don't ever know. And like when you look at your insurance and stuff, it'll tell you, you're not in a flood zone, so you can't get flood insurance. And, so if something were to happen, which I can't even imagine what it might be, but anyway, God said he wouldn't flood the earth again like that, so I can trust that.
Yes.
But anyway, it's just interesting.
So that was my thing.
But yeah, it's been that's been really. I'm curious to see how this what happens.
What happens?
Because I just think about the lives around there that are affected.
And
so many lives affected.
Did they ever decide on vehicles that went off? Were there vehicles that went off?
I think there were some, they said, that may have. But, how does this affect jobs? How does this affect anything?
You're right. It's meant because now all these people that use
because
All these
I don't
people who
know.
use that bridge have got to find another way to get to work, which is going to put
or if the port
traffic
closes,
problems
where are these people going to go to?
and the port if they have to suspend time. Oh man, it's just
I mean, it's
really
just, there's so, this is so massive.
It needs to be investigated.
And I'm sure it will be.
It will be, but well, I
It's
can get
just,
myself into trouble here.
I
I
have
hope,
no idea how long this will take to fix.
and the thing, what took 5 years to build.
Exactly.
So with the way things are going now, I hope that whoever investigates, they're honest and objective. And it's hard to find people who are going to be honest and objective. Especially, boy, there's so many things with the way our economy is right now, the way the cost of energy, and just think about, I'm sure, I know there's people even in our own county that are hungry. And they have choices, do I feed my pet or buy my medicine?
Mm-hmm.
Really.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are not righteous, I guess, and somebody says to look at, if you find in this investigation there might be something for somebody being liable, suppose I helped you along a little bit and you found no liability. I mean, I'm just saying, we can hope that people are honest, but I don't always trust people anymore.
Not especially, especially government. I don't. If the government said they're gonna fix it,
And
you better figure out a way to.
do it yourself. And what's
I'm
really,
sorry, they can't fix anything.
and her son sends me a text last night. Here's an example. I'm like, yes. Yes. It was like, yes, because he's honest, because he's your son, and he thinks in that manner. If it's black or white, it's black or white. It's not gray. You can't. So here's an example. I'm like, yeah, I'm printing it off. Thank you. It's like, mm-hmm. So exactly, because people are just, they are greedy. They are, they're not afraid of doing things that aren't right.
So we're just praying for the people that were affected.
Oh yes, definitely.
Praying for all these things that are going to be affected, and just praying that the truth will come out.
Yes.
And that things can be used to make things better. Correct?
Yes. Learn by your mistakes.
All right, guys.
It seems people don't do that.
See you later.